All right, Second Timothy. This is the I Don't Get the Bible podcast. I'm Delaney.
I'm Shawn, Delaney's
He's my
dad.
dad. I read with him and ask questions, and we usually get into other topics. So, okay. Second Timothy chapter 2, we're at verse 11. Let me make sure about that. It is faithful, saying, for if we be dead with him, we shall also live with him. If we suffer, we shall also reign with him. If we deny him, he also will deny us. Right after the elect comment, that's not an elect thing, is it? To deny him and he denies back? And that's also scary.
It's strange that he includes those little caveats when he's mentioned the elect. So it has to cause us to question, what does elect really mean?
Well, do you know what elect means?
It means chosen. Elect sounds like this, but chosen means I need you, I want you, you're invited. But it seems like there's always the exception of if you don't do it, forget it.
Yeah, like chosen is such a different word.
Yeah.
It's like I choose you to come to my wedding. You don't come though.
Right.
Like
What's really
you're
on your
given the
mind?
opportunity. I'm writing thank you notes
Oh,
for the
are you?
wedding. Oh my
I
gosh.
get a nice long one. I'm just kidding. Don't waste your time.
Yeah, all these caveats are kind of scary. If we deny him, he'll deny us. If we believe not, yet he abideth faithful, he cannot deny himself. I don't even know what that means. Believe not, are unfaithful, it says. Of these things put them in remembrance, charging them before the Lord that they strive not about words to no profit, but to the subverting of the hearers. This is really hard for me to understand, I'll be honest.
Yeah, he's saying there, Timothy, don't let the soldiers of the faith get involved in arguments about stupid things.
Right.
Just keep them focused. The King James is hard if you're not used to it. You might want to go back to what you're
I
used to.
know.
This might be a good study Bible for you,
I want to do
though.
it for myself, though.
Yeah, but maybe not on the air.
Screw you. It's true, though. It's like I have to go through layers of reading this. Where just getting the story is really important.
Yeah.
But I really like reading this.
Do you?
But it's not good for a podcast.
Well, if you're struggling with it, it's not good for the podcast.
I'm struggling with it just because it's just so far. How did you? I guess you grew up. I grew up with Mormonism, but I never got it.
I went on a mission.
Mormonism.
I learned the King James. I taught from the King James. So, and if I ever read a Bible, it was the King James. The Book of Mormon's written in King James Elizabethan English, which is so anachronistic. You know, how are people 600 years before Christ writing in King James? Thou and these.
The hell? Why has no one talked about
Oh,
that?
they do. They talk about it.
I guess they do. They've talked about everything.
Yeah, they've talked about everything. Doesn't matter though.
Well, then let me go back. I'm sad. I'm gonna read this for myself.
Take that home and use it as your private. Forget that computer. That's your book.
That's the thing. This is hard for me to just sit down and read.
Yeah.
Like it's not good this way. This is but anyway, okay. I'm not flipping you off intentionally. It's just a sticker for something we're working on. Maybe I am flipping you off.
Unless you are a mean corporate person.
Okay. Keep reminding God's people of these things. Warn them before God against quarreling about words. It's of no value and only ruins to those who listen. Do your best to present yourself as to God as one approved. A worker who does not need to be ashamed and who correctly handles the word of truth.
So that's why you have people who are apologists that study in order to engage.
I hear that all the time. present yourself approved.
Yeah.
This is a gnarly chapter.
Yeah, that's
I
why
don't like it.
it's the
I don't like it. I'm sorry to tell you.
Don't be sorry. That's honest.
It's just all the shit that people claim that are the worst people in Christianity.
That's why men read 2 Timothy.
Yeah.
And 1st. They love it.
But it's Paul talking to Timothy
About how to govern the men in that area. Yeah.
Okay, so Timothy, keep reminding God's people of these things. Warn them against quarreling. That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Warn them against quarreling, and then do your best to present yourself to God as one approved. Which the quarrelers today quote when he's telling them not to quarrel. A worker who, and to be approved, it's a worker who doesn't need to be ashamed and correctly handles the word of truth. Word of truth, too. Yeah. Do they call that the Bible? The word?
The word of truth could refer to Paul's teachings to them, the Old Testament, and maybe some of the recorded letters they may have had. But the word of truth is really Christ.
Right. But do people today cite that as the Bible?
Oh, yeah.
That is the most backward thing I've ever heard. They did not have the Bible.
They had the Old Testament.
Yeah, but they didn't have this.
Right.
People cite this as the word of truth, and they didn't have this.
Here's the caveat to that, which is the little singular escape that they use.
In the beginning was the word?
No, Peter says that Paul's words are hard to understand, and in the translations they call it the scripture or the word. But all the translation is, as Peter says, his grapha, his writings are hard to understand, and they translate grapha to scripture. And so they say Peter called Paul's writings scripture. So therefore, that is how we can say it's talking about it. And it's very, very shallow and weak of an argument.
That's crazy. Even if it did mean scripture, I wouldn't take this part where it's talking about the word to mean the New Testament. When this is a letter in that time when they didn't have the New Testament, it can't mean that.
And so someone would say, that's why we know this was written to us, because they didn't have it.
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
Yeah. And then we're going to come to the passage you've heard that all scripture, I think it's here, is of God. So then they take that and they say, this was scripture. It just wasn't available. It's in, but when we get to that,
all scripture could be of God. That doesn't mean it's written, the directives are written to you.
Right. But
if it's of God,
we'll cover it when we get to it.
I didn't realize that the justification for it being for us today is because they didn't have the word. Like, they didn't have scripture, so that means this scripture is for us. That's the line of thinking.
That is one of the arguments. Yeah. From a really smart person. I've only heard it once.
But who is it from?
I don't remember. I think it was from the Ratio Christi kids.
But I see what they're saying, but it's the collection of these letters was for us. Like, people collected these letters for us to read.
Were they inspired?
But the letters weren't to us.
Right.
They're different. Like,
so let's go down this slippery slope, which is really, really scary for people. I don't think the apostolic record is scripture. I think anytime they talk about the scripture, anytime in the apostolic record, they're talking about the Old Testament.
Okay.
And I think that the men who compiled the apostolic record were inspired, and it was for them, and it is beneficial to us to read, to learn from, just like the Old Testament. But I don't see it as the same type of scripture that the Old Testament was.
I go down the same line of thinking for sure. Like, the word scripture, like us calling something scripture, comes from them, and they their scripture was the Old Testament.
Always.
Like,
Yeah.
the word that's being referred to in the New Testament is Jesus, obviously.
I think, and Grady thinks.
So then, what is the New Testament? It is inspired.
Inspired writings, I think. It's my opinion because of that all scripture. So if Paul was inspired, because he'll say, I was inspired by God. This is of God.
Yeah.
So if he makes that claim, then you have to say, I either believe it or I don't. I believe it. So I think that the apostolic record is from God and inspired in most places. But I don't see it as having the same import as the Old Testament had to them in that day.
Yeah. Like Christ fulfilled it.
Yeah.
Like Christ has the import, not the letters written about Christ to other people.
So if the reformers from Luther to Calvin and all those guys, if they were really on their game, they wouldn't have said sola scriptura. They would have said the scriptures, the Old Testament. We read the apostolic record to gain principles that Christ taught and learn about his life and what the church went through. If they speak to you from the Spirit, increase your love, fine. But that's not what they did.
But also, wait. Okay, I was going to say something I forgot. What about Revelation?
What about it?
Isn't that like prophetic? It's like a different kind of, it's not like a record, it's like a prophecy.
Yeah, it's like a prophecy.
So wouldn't that be kind of a different category?
Yeah, I mean, there's different categories of books in the apostolic record. There's historical books, the Gospels and Acts. There are prophetic books, Revelation. There are books to Jews only, Hebrews, most of Peter's. There are books that were written specifically to the Gentiles, Paul's. And all of those things make up different segments of the apostolic record.
But wouldn't you say that all of them except Revelation are directives for those people at that time, and Revelation was not directives for people at those time? It was something to come, just like wasn't the Old Testament basically that too?
Yeah,
prophecies,
but it was both. It was
histories.
to them and then also prophetic. So I think Revelation was, it actually borrows from the Old Testament history in how it's constructed. So you got to understand the Old Testament to really understand Revelation. And then it was also prophetic, but for a very short window of time, because the opening and closing said this stuff's all going to happen quickly.
Yeah.
So while prophetic, it was still to them. That's why he says, take these to the 7 churches that existed then.
Yeah.
And read it. So it's a little bit different than Old Testament prophecies that took 1,000 years to come forward.
Is there like record of it getting to the 7 churches?
I don't think so.
Do we know what happened with Revelation after it was written?
I think it's all probably supposition. Yeah. John doesn't include in it, and I took these to the 7 churches.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I think he does say he took it to the 7 angels, which are interpreted as the 7 messengers of each 7 churches, who translated would have been their pastor or their teachers. Yeah. So I think it does verify that he, yeah.
And those were things that they were, basically Revelation is things they were to look out for that were coming really soon. Like the rest of the apostolic record is like increasing in urgency chronologically, but Revelation's the closest. And it's describing the things that they have to look out for which
are in complete harmony with what Jesus told the 4 on the Mount of Olives to look for. John is saying, this is it, this is here. But he doesn't use language that's really easy to understand. And that's what makes it so hard and so open to interpretation.
And so probably not to us, because they probably understood it back then.
if you believe the book of Revelation, you have to believe who it's addressed to.
Yeah.
And it's addressed to the 7 damn churches.
Yeah.
I can't believe how blind we will allow ourselves to be when we read that book.
Well, it makes sense to not consider the apostolic record the same kind of scripture because it was just for a short time for a specific people.
I like that. Full of principles. And scripture's full of principles. That's what he'll say. All scripture is given by inspiration. So when we get there, we'll talk about it. But we can get principles from the old and from the new. So they're the same in that way.
But you only understand the principles in the old because of the new at this point, wouldn't you say? Like and it's like a hindsight thing. Like we understand the old better because of the new.
It's both ways. You won't really understand the new unless you read the old.
Yeah, I guess.
And you won't understand the old until you've read the new completely. Yeah. So they go hand in hand, like father and son, like man and woman, 2 witnesses, same type of thing. But the former is material, and the second collection is spirit. We've taken the second collection and made it material.
I think it was kind of material for them still.
Well, it was material for them, yeah. But we've taken it and made it material.
Oh, yeah. The only thing we can do is take the whole, both of them, and derive the spiritual, like, love that God has for us through the material thing he did. Yeah. Like, that's the point of the Bible, right?
And someone wise once labeled that as the through line of Scripture. It's the through line.
Yeah, just what the best way of thinking about what you're doing when you're reading it.
And so when you meet someone new to the faith who hasn't been able to examine the through line, hasn't done the learning, when they talk, if you've done the work, you just listen and in patience and love, you say, that's an interesting idea. But they usually are so far off the mark. It's just like, I don't know how God puts up with us.
I know.
You know, me especially.
So, yeah. To think that either the New Testament or the Old is directly applicable. So what in this, I'm trying to think through like what the Old Testament means to us if we think of the apostolic record as a different kind of scripture this way.
Old Testament means law. It means God's law before his son came and fulfilled it. Law.
And kind of the evolution of that law, wouldn't you say?
Sure.
Like it changed. It started in the garden, and it would have stayed that way, and we wouldn't have had any Old Testament.
Yes. And every time man got involved with the law, God would change it because they couldn't keep it. Yeah. It's what humans live like, even like a called nation lives like under law.
So do you think it's possible as a Jew today that doesn't, or whatever a Jew is today, that doesn't believe in Jesus, to see the same thing out of the Old Testament? That it's a changing...
That was their book. They could have had eyes to see it then, and they did. That's how, reading the New Testament, Jews would say, oh, my eyes have opened. This is he, And I've told the story of Steve... Colbert in School of Ministry was a converted Jew, and how he was reading as a Jew the Old Testament, and it says in Zechariah that the Messiah would come in on a donkey. And he said, I've been to Israel many times. They're not riding donkeys anymore. And he said he's come.
Wow.
And he converted. And then he fortified his immediate response by study.
Okay, but even not that they would realize Jesus, but that they would understand God's ultimate objective, which is faith and love. Like the Old Testament...
I don't know that they would see it. I think they see God's objective as good laws really.
But the laws keep changing. Like they would, if you were to really read that without the New Testament, you would see that God keeps changing the law.
Yeah, and their scholars, their rabbis would go back to the original. They'd look at Moses, and that's where you get Orthodox Jews versus
Oh, wow.
liberal Jews.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, the Orthodox Jews are the ringlet dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go back to the law with rabbis and they study and they stay with that. It's the other more modern, ones.
I would have thought Orthodox Jews are following the most recent version of the law in the Old Testament. So like
No,
all the
the
600.
real Orthodox ones are following as closely as they can.
Well, why aren't they seeing what you're seeing, which is the law is the 10 words?
Oh, they do.
That's the only law.
Yeah.
That's what they see.
They would see that, but they would also see that God, he would extend more laws over time, as proven by the text, to help them see and help them understand.
I know, but don't you get what I'm trying to ask? Like, why do we see it's only because of the context of the New Testament that you think you can see the Old Testament as God changing to love us, not making the law better.
Yeah.
Do you get
It's
what
because
I'm
of my
saying?
understanding of the new that I can interpret the old in ways that a Jew would never do that.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not possible to see the old. So the New Testament is really needed. It is scripture in some way. Like it's really needed.
Well, it was needed. Remember, that was the audience. But after the destruction of Jerusalem, there's no more Jew or Gentile.
Yeah,
So-
like it's needed as much as the Old Testament is needed.
Yeah.
Right?
But, it was
Like-
needed then as much as.
No, like today, I guess I could say it's not needed as much as the Old Testament is not needed
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Because Christ fulfilled it. We don't need either as much as one another, but you need them as much as one another.
Right. Yeah.
Would you say that?
I would agree with that. But I want to get back to a point you made. From Christ's own mouth, their scriptures testified of him. And he told them, search your scriptures. He says, you're a master in Israel and you don't know that it speaks of me?
Yeah.
Can you not see? And because other people who knew the scripture were able to see, it shows that some had blindness. So to your question, could they have read that and known him? They could have. Could they have known that God really is love? Mm-hmm. They would have. They could have. Would they have known that he wants faith? They could have. Mm-hmm. And they were the ones who really, really tried to please God when Jesus walked the earth, and he loved them. But it would be very hard for them to know that the law was given through Moses, but grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. That because they expected him to be a military
Material
leader.
king.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking now, like, when did, like, the idea of the second coming of the Messiah being necessary wasn't a thing for the Jews.
No.
That only came about because of the way Jesus was, would you say?
Yeah.
Defeating death and all. Like, their Messiah wouldn't need to defeat death because he would be the Ubermensch man, right?
Right.
So all this stuff about the way Jesus had victory was not expected.
Right. And that's why they didn't accept him. And
Because
that's
he
why
died.
today they don't believe him.
Because he was killed.
Because
and
he was
died.
killed and all this stuff. He interpreted the great and dreadful day according to himself. I'm going to return, and that great and dreadful day is going to coincide with my return. They wouldn't
What
have
was
seen
the
that.
great and there was a. That's what I'm trying to ask. I guess the great and dreadful day is a thing for Jews.
Yeah, it was always a thing for them.
How does that work with the Messiah? Does the great and dreadful day for Jews come of the Messiah?
Ooh, now you're getting into heavy questions.
Yeah.
So, to a Jew, they would have thought, I hope I'm right on this, that the Messiah would have been born, he would have emancipated them from Roman rule and any other bondage. He would have led them as king on earth.
In like a theocracy kind of
in
thing?
a theocracy.
Okay.
And Israel would be the shining light of the
Oh.
world.
Oh.
And they also would have thought that the great and dreadful day was going to be the end of the former age, which they were under the law. And it would become the beginning of the age of their Messiah reigning on earth.
So the great and dreadful day would usher in the Messiah.
That's right. It would usher in, or it would validate his reign on earth. The great and dreadful day of the law is crumbling. We don't need all these things anymore. We have our only true Messiah.
So Christians and Jews today are both waiting for the great and dreadful day for different reasons.
Yep.
That's what that is so funny.
Yep. And so the parlay
That's
between
why-
the two is Netanyahu sending
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk millions of dollars
Yeah.
because we have this engagement about this returning Messiah or this coming Messiah.
It has never made sense to me why Christians support Jews.
That's why. And also, there's two.
It's still backward to me.
There's references
but
in the Old Testament where God says, and Christians take this as not movable. I have formed an everlasting covenant with you. If someone's against you, they're against me. And Christians read that and they say, okay.
What do Christians think Christ was? I know he was for the Jews and saved the Jews, but he was against their law. Wouldn't you say?
He wasn't against their law. He was against their interpretation of law
Yeah,
and
he
how they
fulfilled the
used
law.
it. Yeah.
But like,
It's weedy, isn't it?
yeah, it's really, it does not register to me a
Say the
Christian
question again about
support.
Christians.
Why Christians support Jews is really unclear to me, because the whole thing about Christianity is saying that current Judaism is incorrect. Like,
Yeah, but there's so many passages in the Old Testament where God says, I will be faithful to you. I'll come back. But they're all predicated on their obedience. And Christians ignore that. They read the promises of God given to the nation in the Old Testament, and they say he could never let them go. They're his covenant people.
okay, wait. So Christians, it's really because Christians were Gentiles.
Yeah.
It's Jew and Gentile. So us as Christian Gentiles, if we're of normal Christianity, think that the Messiah came, we get to believe on that Messiah, and the people that the Messiah came for just haven't seen it yet. And
Yeah.
we need to support them
Yes.
as we both wait for the great and dreadful
Yes.
day.
Yeah.
That's
and when
the logic.
the Messiah comes back, the Christians are like, our Messiah, and the Jews are like, our brother. We didn't know. We never knew. That's
Okay.
the thinking.
That's how Christians think.
Yeah.
While Jews think you guys are idiots. That's not your Messiah.
Yeah.
That's
the guy
whole
who comes
dynamic.
is not going to be your Jesus. But
Yeah.
let's play the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're both waiting for the great and dreadful day. Christians think that it's Jesus coming back, and Jews think it's a new Messiah that hasn't come.
Yeah, it's not going to be Jesus.
Okay.
They hate Jesus. He was a traitor.
Of course.
He started his own gig
But Christians are okay.
with Palestinians dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Insane.
Sorry, I had to throw that
No,
in
it's absolutely absurd.
there. I wrote in my journal, I think it's time that the brothers, Ishmael and Isaac, and all their offspring
yeah.
put to bed the fight
Yeah, my
and stop
gosh.
killing each other and just agree they have the same father. You know, and that every nation in the world should say, you're on your own. If you're going to go into this, we are going to either bomb you to protect the
Yeah.
innocent, but you guys are done if you can't get over your differences.
It's literally, that is a funny thing, is why Christians are a dummy in this fight. Like, we have no We're just like suckers. It's like what, but the whole fight for in America right now is about Christians because that's the
Yeah.
like that's the issue is Christians that they're the reigning, but it really is as dumb as two brothers fighting over their dad.
Yep.
That is the feeling of
Yep.
this whole thing.
Yep. And Paul talks about it. He explains it so beautifully in Romans. He's like,
Wow.
they were at each other at the beginning, and they're at each other's throats today.
Wow.
And that was in his day. It's horrible. And it was the result of Sarah, saying to Abraham, God's not going to give me the promised son. Take my handmaid. So he does.
Crazy.
And here we go. This is what men do. And so God says, I've given you dominion. You can listen to me, trust me or not. She didn't. Abraham followed his wife. It's not that wives are wrong. Wives are more practical. Men are supposed to be more allegiant to God. Adam, his wife said, hey, here's the fruit. She goes, it's going to make us wise. Men, his responsibility was to say, no, we're going to follow. He didn't. He followed Eve.
Yeah. It's true. I think women get mad that the Bible is like that, but I think it's a testament to the power that women have.
Oh,
not
yeah.
the intelligence. It kind of makes men just look like guys that follow their
We're
women.
dummies.
Yeah, like I don't know how it turned backward. Like I don't know. It's
This
a
is a
funny
really
thing.
good thing for you and Cass to discuss because we've got it so wrong. The women, and then again, not to pick on them, but Eve is the only one who repented. Adam didn't. When she bore Cain, she said, God has given me a child. Adam disappears. Men are losers. We just, and so a woman is a helpmate. That balance is so good if you've got a good woman. But if you've got a bad one, fucking, you're in trouble. Best decision of my life was to marry your mom. She's a good woman, and I'm dumb in a lot of ways, but I know when you've got someone who is loyal and faithful and good. I mean, right there, boom.
Yeah, the whole talk, like normally I think a woman would be offended by that kind of talk because it's like, it's just all, I think women have trouble with the fact that the responsibility of the world is just always on us and you guys don't take the responsibility or something.
No, we're losers.
But it's also, I guess maybe the hard part is when men don't act like that. They act like we're the losers, but also know that they're dumb. Like there's this thing where they act like we're the losers.
You
it's like,
women?
Yeah.
Well, that is really bad, man.
Yeah.
Stuff.
There's bad men too.
Oh my gosh.
But the thing is just that bad men, I don't think have as much control as they think.
Right.
And I think women have given them the control, the patriarchy, whatever. Like men take it with violence and shit, but like, I don't know. It's really hard.
Well, that's the thing about it. It is hard. And I don't think we're going to come up with any kind of teleological explanation.
Yeah.
But I do think that the deontological of husbands first love your wife.
Yeah.
Wives, respect your husbands is central to the way we're made up.
Yeah, there's a point that I got to where it's just like there are just things that exist and we can be bothered about them, but they keep remaining true.
Yeah.
And it is really helpful to just accept them as true and then work with it.
Yeah.
I think it helps as a woman to get over frustration with how it works.
Yeah. Our sociologists, I mean, through studies, I'm citing something I read back when I was in my late 20s. I know we've gone over. But our sociologists have proven that society's last leg, when we know we're going, is when the women go bad.
Yeah. And
It's not
like,
when the men go
why
bad.
Why is it our problem?
Because men are led about by their little member. They are dumb. And women, while they have those urges, and women more today are following those urges, hence the decline of Western civilization.
Yeah.
Women, they control the purse strings, so to speak.
Yeah.
If you held your tongue and said that, you would understand. Women control what men are all about: money, sex, pleasure.
Yeah.
Men do everything for sex. That's how we are made. And women, if they don't control that gate, we're fucked.
Yeah. I think the whole thing about society right now is like a resentment for that, a knowledge that that's how it works, and a resentment for it.
Right.
I think that's what's going on.
And let's take it one step further. If women, instead of catering to the carnal nature of men, got strong
Yeah.
and said, "You don't get me
Yeah.
unless you've earned it, buddy," then
Yeah.
we could have them helping be the helpmate to males to help them not be gorillas.
Well, I agree. It's the whole thing is, why is it on us?
I know,
Why
it's
can't
not fair.
you get strong? That's the question.
Okay.
Why do we have to get strong?
So, and then you just said the thing you're starting to realize is there are things that exist that are not fair.
That's
and they
where I've
always
gotten.
exist.
That's where I've come to, is that question of why can't you get strong? It's like sitting in a like a post breakup stage where you're just like pissed, and it's
Yeah.
not like solution of how to move forward.
Yeah.
But which I understand. Like I don't think it's an unreasonable question to be like, why can't you get strong? Like, why is it on me? But
And right now, Calvinism is on the uprise of telling men to get strong. You know, they're saying this is no excuse.
Yeah.
But they are being patriarchal and demeaning women.
Yeah, that was the thing with Charlie Kirk, which it's true. Like, I think men need to get strong.
I do too.
Like, there's a huge problem.
Yeah.
They've there's bad men that have taken advantage of the situation to be worse, basically, which that's just on both sides. But so the emphasis of conservatives on like the dads to shape their family up
Absolutely.
is actually really valid.
Valid. Yeah.
But it's always at the cost of like the dad is more important and the woman or something. Like it has to be in this really old school way. I don't get why we can't say the dad's really important and the mom's important. Not just in the home, but in a bunch of ways. Like whatever.
They're both important.
Yeah, it's just whatever.
Yeah.
It's really simple.
Yeah.
It's actually
I agree
really simple.
That and a real Christian, if you're going to do a brick and mortar, but a real man will raise his sons and raise other men up to treat women. One of our primary objectives is to protect women.
Yeah.
Not because they can't protect themselves.
Yeah.
But so that we don't prey on them.
Yeah.
And
yes.
so that they have a chance.
Yeah.
And support them and and help educate so that they can get higher jobs. All of that. Men should be doing that.
Yeah. That I think is the weird. That is actually, I think, the conundrum is that women have power, and women have power in the mind and emotion, and men have power physically.
Yeah.
And so women are both prey, or they're either prey or they're like guidance or something. Like it's one or like you see them as one or the other, I think.
Yeah. These are heavy concepts. Like I said, I really hope you and Cassidy do a show.
Sorry again for the tangent, but need to do it.
That's why we do this.
That's the point of this. Yeah,
That's
to bring up the questions. So hope you guys are enjoying.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Bye.